Aloha, I'm Susan Nudowitz with letsfeelexcellent.com or the YouTube channel of the same name, whichever place you happen to be. Welcome. And what I want to talk to you about today is one of the pinnacles on our North Star. So we have in our pentagram our focus, our goals, what we want to achieve, what outcomes we want. That's very important because we could want a goal like succeeding in a career, for example, or having more money, or finding a perfect relationship, and without saying, what kind of outcome do we want? How do we want to feel in the relationship that we want to build? What kind of person do we want? What kind of outcome do we want? What kind of days do we want to make for ourselves? That's really important. We put that in the pentagram. And the pinnacle we're going to talk about today is rest time management, which I think it's excellent because right now in Hawaii it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm talking to you because I have a whole other job with my practice, my bodywork practice, and running my 3 acres and all the kinds of stuff that I do here. So the first thing I want to tell you is that I found after my own experience of over 19 years of insomnia and just this in-depth understanding of the body is that we don't really need 8 hours of sleep or more a day, and I'm going to talk about that in detail of when we need it and what are the signs and symptoms of when you want to take that, and a little bit of how to increase your day, because I know there's a lot of peak performers out there in many different areas, and I really don't believe in any kind of regiments like we must eat X, Y, and Z to perform. We must get so many hours of this and so many hours of that and so many hours of that. We're not robots, so I don't really believe in all of that. And let's just go through this and just shed some light on rest/time management. Okay, so first of all, why is it important? We all know rest is important. It feels really good to get a good night's sleep. So why is it important for us during different life stages to get enough rest? Well, and how does it relate to the pain that we feel in the body? If we feel pain in our joints, or we have certain episodes that come up, are they really to do with how I bent over and picked up that piece of paper, or how I lifted that couch when we were moving, or that work situation? Can I blame it on work, or can I not blame it on work? Well, a lot of times it's due to health issues, is due to not having enough rest. And it's important to have the rest, and I want to differentiate that from sleep. I will do that a little bit later on. So if we are feeling aches and pains that we can't really understand, that may be because we're not getting enough rest, because you can get enough hours of sleep and still not have enough rest. It's also a huge component in having a fulfilled life. Rest is major in emotional state management, I should say, and your mood, and that is really important. A little bit later on, I'm going to explain that half the night we're working on the psychological part of ourselves, and half the night we're working on the physical part of ourselves. And those things are still important to accomplish, even though we might not be getting the hours of rest. And even if we are getting the hours of rest, it's very, very important. So if we don't get enough rest, we can actually create accidents and create injuries in our life. We're not as much on the ball on the mental, and our tissues are not as hydrated and spongy and resilient as they could be. They're not as buoyant as they could be, so therefore they can't absorb as much shock as they could. So you can actually create accidents and illnesses. A lot of people say to me, I have people coming to me and they're creating one car accident after another. It's not, it's rare, but some people do this. And when they do this, I encourage them to take a look at it. And it's something that they don't want to look at. They say, no, this is happening to me. You know, what are you talking about? I'm creating car accidents. Well, when you're having one after another, then yeah, there's something in there that's actually creating that. Because yeah, you know, all of us could go out and drive or ride in a car and have a car accident every day. The potential is there, and the potential is also there to keep ourselves safe. So we don't really have to do that. So pain and general physical discomfort in our bodies will happen when we don't have enough rest. Go ahead and just stay up all night if you don't really know how to do that, and go into sleep deprivation. You'll see what I mean. You'll have one symptom after another, and pain usually is in there somewhere. Stress. Rest helps to relieve stress and helps you not create stress on two levels, because like I said, we're working half the night on the psychological, emotional body, and half the night on the physical body. So it's literally split in half. And what peak performers and people that don't have the opportunity to get enough rest need to do, we can say people that don't have enough opportunity, like parents, you know, with young children, with babies. Sometimes you don't have a good enough opportunity. The baby wants to feed during the night, and you've got to work during the day, or you have responsibilities during the day, so you can't really be napping during the day. So there are ways, as long as you're getting what you need from the rest. That is the important thing. The important thing is not so much being in bed resting. Aging. You will age if you're not getting hydration to your tissues, and I mean all the tissues. You will age exponentially because hydration is one of the things that the physical body does during sleep, during rest, during that deep sleep that we all need. And having that healthy glow. Now, some people are really just truly interested in the beauty aspects of being healthy, and that's enough motivation for them to be healthy, and that's a great motivation if that is what does it for you. And you can just look on the raw food forums of the people and the profiles. You can go to raw food channels on YouTube sites, or just poke around on the internet, and you will see that people that get enough, people that are interested in health and really take it on to be healthy for whatever reason, have a radiant glow. And this is all the time, unless they have, they're doing something that they're detoxing through. So that is really important things to know of what rest can do, or if you don't get rest, what you're in for. So what do we accomplish when we rest? Hydration of the tissues, which I touched on before, it's very important. Those of you that know that have had a herniated disc, you probably know that at night the back decompresses somewhat and the discs inside hydrate, and all of your tissues start to hydrate, but they cannot hydrate if those lava tubes are down. And what do I mean by the little lava tubes being down? What I mean by that is you could drink water all day long. You could drink gallons of water. You could have pills to hydrate yourself, and you could just be peeing out this water in these pills. Because if the lymphatic system is not open to the capillary bed, if the fascia is glued and tight and sticky, if there's a misalignment there that's causing an adhesion, then that fluid is not going to get in. So we need to accomplish that. When we talk about rest, if you have restless rest, then you have things on your mind, or you have, again, these impingements, these adhesions, these misalignments, then you can be restless and not accomplish that hydration. So you could be spending the time in bed and the time sleeping and not really making use of that time and getting that hydration, which is amazing. When we rest, we come back home. What I mean by that is psychologically. It's that place that we accomplish on vacation. It's that place where clarity comes into the picture. It's that place where we just feel all right in ourselves and in the world. That place is where we come to when we truly rest. What else do we accomplish? So we release stress when we come to that place. In craniosacral, we call it the tides, the tidal rhythms. When we come into a tidal rhythm that's very slow and it's more of our relaxed state, that is when we can just slough off the stress. Our minds are actually incredibly busy during rest. We think we're not doing anything, we're not doing much with our bodies, but when we rest, our minds are incredibly busy, and that's why we dream, and sometimes we remember our dreams and we think they're crazy. It's just sloughing off all of the stress. It's kind of making sense of things that we want to make sense of. And sometimes when we are woken up by a dream, our conscious mind is wanting to make sense of what happened somewhere in our life, somewhere in our past, that we want to learn about. It's up for learning, and we want to make sense of it. Okay. What else did I want to talk to you about? Excuse me for just a second. Okay, rest gives your body a break. And this is the whole idea of fasting. We tend to think fasting is a food thing, and it is. It can be, but fasting simply means to rest. It means to give yourself a break. And what we're doing during rest is we're giving our organs a break. We're giving our digestive system a break. Our digestive system takes a lot of energy to run. And so when we rest, we're giving that huge system a break, and we're giving ourselves a chance to recharge our battery. We're also giving our heart a chance to rest and give it a break. And all of our organs. It's not like our organs are going to stop, our vital organs are going to stop at all. They actually do other things when we rest. But when we give them this break, this really important break, then they're not working nearly as hard as when we're going through our day-to-day, certainly when we're going through stress or exercise. Okay, rest certainly improves memory and allows for better brain functioning. Again, we're just giving the tissues a chance to rehydrate, a chance to cleanse, and those organs a chance to have a break and to rest. It regulates hormones. So that's another pinnacle on our star. And we want to talk about that because our bodies are our hormonal factories. We shouldn't have to be supplementing with hormones that are synthetic. We shouldn't have to do that at all. We should be able to, late in our lives, be able to make our own hormones, and rest gives us that opportunity to do that. One important hormone that is activated during rest is the growth hormone. And some of you are thinking, well, I don't want to be fat, so what do I want the growth hormone for? The growth hormone that I'm speaking of is like growth that grows your hair, growth that releases the proteins to grow new skin, to grow new nails, to grow new eyeballs, to grow everything in your body. Yes, you do want that. You want new cells to be perpetuating and to be regenerating all of the time. And you want those cells to be healthy. Optimally, yes? Okay, so there's Harvard medical research that shows that rest decreases the risk of diabetes too. Yeah, you know, we need to make the insulin in our pancreas, and one thing that we know causes diabetes is slowing the engine, slowing the machine way down. And that we do with fats. Fats take a long time to digest, and diabetes, type 2 diabetes in particular, is really about the amount of fat that's in the blood. Okay, so it's great for digestion, great for all the organs. We talked about that. And it's really hard, if you haven't noticed, to have a positive mental state, emotional state, if you're not rested. It's really hard to have an uplifted posture, but it's also very difficult to be in a good mood. And there's a reason for that. The body is struggling. We tend to think only about our psychological gratifications. We tend to think, well, I'm tired, I need a coffee, I'm unhappy, I need chocolate, and these sorts of things. I'm in pain, I need an NSAID. These kinds of things we tend to think about. But we don't really think about, you know, what the body actually needs. So when we want to have a good mood, and our tissues are actually irritated, that can actually affect a lot of outcomes in our life. And it sounds, I don't mean to sound woo-woo here because it's not woo-woo, but I see it happening over and over again. Let me give you an example. You can look at this in your own personal life, but I'll give you an example. I have a neighbor. My neighbor is 10 acres, a good 10 acres away from me. My neighbor has epilepsy. However, my neighbor just started to do drugs and not pay attention to his mental, emotional, physical state and his mind. And his seizures started to go out of control. He started to have seizures while he was driving, and, you know, has had many concussions and many head injuries. I saw this, I saw his head totally change shape, and as a craniosacral therapist and a structural integrator, I offered him some help. Let me take a little sip of water here, I'm a little bit dry. Okay. And this guy is continuing to be on the drugs, both prescription and recreational and otherwise, and food, you know, he clogs a lot with food. He's highly irritated. And you can see from his physical disposition, his weight gain, sores that leach, all kinds of fluid, all kinds of bubbly things that come out on his skin. He's had a tremendous amount of hair loss since these episodes. The color of his skin is not good. This guy thinks that he's controlling his state with all of these drugs. But then everybody in the neighborhood, everybody in his family and his friends kind of suffer because he's so irritated inside. And you can see this example. Now, if this isn't a good enough example, just sit for times in your life and see in yourself. When you have irritated nerves, you're going to have an irritated life. And if you have pain, you have irritated nerves. It's a duller sensation of those nerves because they have to focus on what they need to fix in the body. But it's true enough. When you have ticklishness, you have irritated nerves. And people can override this with state management, but it's really, really hard. So rest can help greatly with that. So Ida P. Rolf, the creator of structural integration, has a great story about this, and she probably has several stories, or had several stories. She talks about Johnny and how Johnny's mom got a call from his kindergarten teacher one day, and the kindergarten teacher rejected Johnny from the class because he wasn't emotionally mature enough for kindergarten. Basically, the kindergarten teacher had it. Johnny sleeps when the other kids are awake and they're trying to do something, and Johnny doesn't sleep when the other kids are having nap time. Johnny runs around. Johnny creates a lot of problems. Johnny creates a lot of trouble. Johnny's been labeled ADD or ADHD or whatever, and has several different labels on him, and now is slated for Ritalin for a prescription. And Ida Rolf talks about Johnny just got Rolfed, and Johnny can go to kindergarten. Johnny's fine. Johnny no longer has a problem. So we can see these examples over and over again, how your mood and the irritations inside the body, the misalignments and the irritations inside the body can have a huge cause to the effects that we want to have in our life, to the outcomes that we want to produce in our life. Okay. So all healing requires extra sleep. So this is what I want to talk about. Even though I've been able to achieve pretty much the same state with doing all-nighters or doing 20-hour days, doesn't mean that I don't need sleep. When my organs need it, when my body needs it, or if I've exercised extra, or if I've gone through something extra, or if there is anything in my system that's up for healing, or in anyone's system, and you need the sleep, you have to take it. Also for humans, because of the way we're set up emotionally, because the way we're set up physically, sleep is the easiest way to be healthy. It's not easy to do what I do. Sleep and just having your normal time of resting, to have your regular time of sleeping, is important. Also, meditation is one way to rest. It's a little different from sleeping, but that's an important component to rest. So I think that's been a lot on rest and time management. So I want to cut it here and look forward to more videos on rest time management. I'm Susan Nunowitz with Let's Feel Excellent. I thank you for joining me. Aloha.